Here's a look at what's coming up on VA News this week.
VA begins the search for its next top doctor.
Wounded warriors use summer games and beautiful San Diego to enhance their healing process.
And VA's National Public Affairs Training Academy.
Hello, I'm Ann Chapieski with the Office of Human Resources and Administration.
And I'm Clifton Coates with the VA Learning University. We'll be right back with that and more after this.
VA began the process of searching for a new Undersecretary for Health recently. Dr. Robert Petzel will end his 4-year tenure as VA's top doctor in 2014. He said he will also retire then. In announcing the search, Secretary Eric Shinseki said he is convening a commission to conduct the search in advance of Dr. Petzel's retirement due to the length of the search process. Dr. Petzel has served veterans for 40 years as a VA physician, teacher, and administrator. He became Undersecretary for Health in February 2010, overseeing a healthcare system with more than 286,000 employees and a budget of $53 billion to care for more than 6 million veterans. Dr. Petzel has led innovative efforts to move toward a new model of care and pursuing e-connected health, in which VA providers use mobile devices and technology to extend care beyond traditional medical facility visits.
There were 67 recently injured veterans from across the country among the participants at the 6th National Veterans Summer Sports Clinic the week of September the 20th. All reported a great time and extolled the virtues of sports and activity, liberating them from stress and helping their physical ailments heal more quickly.
This event is totally awesome.
Outstanding.
Awesome.
This year's Summer Sports Clinic was attended by 67 first-time participants and 38 returning for a second time. Participants can only attend the games twice.
I'm really happy that the VA has this program so that some of us can get out and do things that we wouldn't ordinarily do.
More than a dozen sports disciplines are offered at the clinic. Expert coaching, some from the nearby U.S. Olympic Training Facility, is available in all the sports.
It's one of a kind. We did a judo, shot put, discus throwing, rowing, outstanding.
We've done sailing and kayaking, which I really enjoy. Found out I'm a little stronger than I thought I was.
The clinic engages the veterans in a more active lifestyle and allows them to enhance their recovery in a community of veterans with common needs.
Semper Fi! Aura!
I'm staying more active. I'm getting out, doing things, that with a prosthetic, a lot of times people feel like they can't do things, but I tell you, it's got me interested in it. It's keeping me more active. I walk every day, work out, and things like this. So it's really been great. There ain't nothing a Marine can't do.
I hear you, Marine.
I have to keep up with my young daughter and my young son. They push me, and I have to show them that there are no obstacles you can't overcome. So this is one great way to show them that, look, you can do anything you put your mind to.
Oh man, that was awesome. I rode the waves, I had fun. Some of those waves are pretty strong, but you get to find out that you can really do it.
You're around other veterans. It's a great positive experience. And try it once, you'll like it.
VA public affairs officers and specialists across the nation were in San Antonio the week of September 16th for a training academy.
It was shorter than VA public affairs conferences in the past, but most participants seemed pleased with the 2 days of classes and networking. Jay Rosenfelder attended and brought back this report.
San Antonio, Texas, home of the Alamo and the famous Riverwalk. This year, this lively city was also home to the Office of Public and Intergovernmental Affairs National Training Academy. Public affairs employees from across the nation gathered together to learn, network, and grow, participating in 2 full days of classes where they were given the knowledge and tools to help them tell their stories. Assistant Secretary Dr. Tommy Sowers was there and talked about the importance of training.
Well, it's interesting today. I asked how many of the folks in there are veterans, and almost all the hands were raised. And veterans know you've got to train, and you learn your lessons during training, and that's exactly what we're doing at this training academy. Over half the folks had not gone through a training experience like this, and so whether it's new media, whether it's on-camera performance, training is vital to make sure that the VA communicates its mission.
Classes such as crisis communication, digital media, and television training helped employees learn to better get their message out to veterans. From the feedback received, training academies such as this one are bound likely to prove a good investment by VA.
We have the opportunity of networking with other public affairs colleagues across the country who are able to share information and resources that are available to our veterans. And that could be in any area, whether it be access to care, whether it be homelessness, whether it be VA home loans, whether it be GI Bill benefits. Any information that I feel that I've gathered from this conference is going to be helpful in me better communicating to the veteran what services and programs they've earned and deserved.
This training conference was very informative on so many levels. With this training, I can do my job as far as social media, public affairs, and media relations, going out and speaking with the veterans and everything that we've been trying to execute and initiate for the VA. I can effectively do that now.
I would like to thank all of those involved for bringing this training academy back so that we can all come together and learn as much as we can, and again bring new perspectives back to our organization.
You can see the energy of this. We've got public affairs officials here that have been in the VA for 3 decades and some that have been here for 3 months. So older people teaching younger people, seeing great professional training. It's a great academy, and we look forward to doing this in the future.
In case you haven't seen it in other places on VA web pages like YouTube and the department's blog, Vantage Point, here is a look at the magnificent war photography exhibit at the Corcoran Gallery of Art in Washington, D.C. This story was produced by staff from VA's Emmy-winning show, The American Veteran.
Beyond doubt, this is the single most familiar image of American victory in World War II.
It was just one devil of a good picture, and he shot it in the breadth of a second, and you can see in the energy and the exertion of putting the pole up, the strength that was needed to do it.
Norman Hatch should know as well as anyone. He didn't shoot the famous photograph, but he was there to witness the event and served as a combat photographer himself from the earliest days of the war until its conclusion.
Once you get that camera up and you start shooting, you're in a different world. Very rarely did I ever get down on the ground flat and shoot. I did once or twice just to get the angle. Let's say 95% of it was standing up and shooting. I wasn't scared. I didn't have a fear factor working, which if I did, I think would have stopped me from doing what I was doing.
Now, the work of war photographers like Norman Hatch has been organized into an exhibit, currently on display at the prestigious Corcoran Museum in Washington, D.C.
The Corcoran couldn't be a more perfect location to see an exhibition like this. We're not far from the war memorials, the World War II memorial, the Vietnam memorial. And so we are geographically perfectly placed to consider the history of American involvement in war.
The show examines 165 years of war photography from conflicts around the world. Rather than follow a strict chronological course, it displays photos clustered in thematic areas, such as the fight, which covers actual combat, but also children, grief, faith, and aftermath.
The organizers of the show decided to show war as something that doesn't really have clear beginnings and clear ends. The memory of war endures after the conflict ends. And I think that the organizers of the show felt that it would really do a disservice to the experience of war that people have had if they were to focus only on the fighting.
Among the unforgettable images of war's aftermath is this shot, titled Burst of Joy. Shot in 1973 by press photographer Sal Vader, It captures the precise moment when Air Force officer Robert Sturm reunites with his family after 5 years of captivity in Vietnam. For many Americans, burst of joy signified that the long war was finally coming to an end.
And the image gives an idea to the viewer. It makes one think that, that this perfect moment lasts forever, just as the photograph lasts forever.
So too with the image known as Old Glory Goes Up on Mount Suribachi, which emblemized the conquest of the Japanese island of Iwo Jima. Taken in February 1945 by a press photographer, it became a symbol to the nation of impending victory. But there's more to the story.
The image that people think of as the perfect moment of the end of a conflict, when triumph is realized and heroic soldiers raise the American flag, signaling the end of a battle, in fact came fairly early in a conflict that would stretch on for another month.
What's more, says Norman Hatch, who was there, photo editors cropped the original image to produce the smaller but far more evocative image that we know today.
And that is what hit the States. And on a Sunday, it was a hit in about every newspaper in the country of any value. And so it raised the spirits of the people, mainly because it was the flag and the fact that they were up on the top of that mountain. And so you can't beat a thing like that.
Not even, it seems, with motion pictures, which Norman produced throughout the war. His body of work includes one of the first and most famous war documentaries ever produced. With the Marines at Tarawa, a real-life account of America's first major amphibious battle in the Pacific, won an Oscar from the motion picture industry in 1944. But that's far from being its most important distinction.
The public was not aware of what war was like until my film. There were bodies floating in the water up and back and forth, as you know.
The film's content was considered so sensitive that President Roosevelt himself was called upon to approve its release. Unlike Norman's films, the photos here at the Corcoran tell stories in a frozen moment. Taken together, they communicate a powerful impression of the experience of war that remains with visitors.
A still photograph captures the instant. It puts us into a particular place and a particular moment in a way that the moving image cannot. It essentially distills an event for us to remember.
Did you know September the 15th through October the 15th is Hispanic Heritage Month? VA Central Office and facilities across the country hold cultural fairs and events to celebrate the contributions of Hispanics to our nation and government. The first U.S. veterans of Hispanic descent to receive treatment at VA facilities served during the Civil War. Their war wounds were treated at National Homes for Disabled Volunteer Soldiers, VHA's ancestor, that operated from 1865 to 1881. 3 such veterans were Private Alexander Mercon of Cadiz, Spain, who was treated after the war at the National Home's Eastern Branch in Togus, Maine, and Private John Dufour, born on the Portuguese island of Madeira, and Private Daniel Pia of Cuba, who were both treated at the Central Branch in Dayton, Ohio, and both are buried at the cemetery there. Well, that's our show for this week. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Clifton Coates.
And I'm Ann Chepieski. Thank you for looking in on us and letting us be a part of your day. Enjoy the rest of your week.